Joining me all, I think this is my longest
Time
interview,
difference?
time difference interview, all the way from you in Tokyo, Japan. Ray Flores, you're actually in Tokyo.
I am in Tokyo, my friend.
Gotcha. Lot of people must be running around.
It is great. I really haven't left the hotel much, but I wanted to tell you first and foremost, happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
I know that you enjoyed it with your lovely wife, and
Thank you.
all the best to you and what is going to be a successful year. And lo and behold, we have a very busy springtime in the sport of boxing, and very honored and blessed to be making my third trip here to Japan for Gennadiy Golovkin and Murata on Saturday.
Let's dive right into it. And see, it's actually when we can talk fights, it's actually better when you're the ring announcer because you can actually give more of an maybe what you feel when you're the ring announcer, I guess.
Yeah.
And if you're doing blow by blow, you kind of have to just keep your thoughts to yourself, I guess. So talk about this fight. What do you think? A lot of people think that it's we're going to see an old Gennadiy Golovkin or I always use this term or the old Gennadiy Golovkin.
Oh, Mark Abrams, I'm glad you brought that up because that is a classic Larry Merchant reference from the glory days of HBO boxing that set the standard for our sport. And I'll tell you this, Murata is a champion here in Japan. He's the WBA champion. He's not going to allow and just sort of, play, the supporting actor to Gennadiy Golovkin. He's not going to just be like, okay, here, come to my home country, have one of the biggest events that Japanese boxing's ever seen and just destroy me. No, he's a power puncher. He's a champion. He wants to defend his home country. He wants to prove to those here in Japan that will be watching all over Japan on Amazon Prime that guess what? There's a reason why I'm a champion. There's a reason why you all believe in me. I think this is going to be a firefight because Gennadiy Golovkin is in impeccable physical shape and is defying the fact that age is but a number. He has a potential fight against Canelo Alvarez, the third fight that he has been longing for and craving for years. And if he beats Murata, if Canelo beats Bivol, which I do believe will happen, then they put themselves in line for a third fight. But I think this is going to be a barn burner of a matchup. I think this is going to be high contact, high volume, very physical, and they are going to throw some heavy leather towards one another.
We've heard about how big Murata is in Japan. You're actually in Japan. Tell us about the fandom and Ryota Murata, how big he is over there.
From what I've been told, and this is the consensus, is that this is the biggest fight in Japanese boxing since dating back to Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas. That was 32 years ago.
And so I guess if you go further, this is probably the biggest fight involving a Japanese fighter, probably even before that.
Exactly. So it's major. And look, I was here for Inoue Donaire, which was unbelievable. I mean, I was here for two Inoue fights, and he is a superstar out here as Inoue. But this is Gennadiy Golovkin, the big drama show in Japan against Murata, the Japanese champion. 2 world titles on the line. I think that this is going to be a sensational fight. And look, who doesn't want to wake up and have brunch and boxing? In the United States, that's what you can do on
5 o'clock in the morning in the East.
Well, maybe a little breakfast then, a little breakfast and boxing. You know what I mean? Before you go to brunch, on a Saturday, late morning, early afternoon. So, but enjoy some breakfast, enjoy some boxing, because you're not going to be disappointed by this fight.
If you're having trouble getting up on Saturday morning, just put your TV on the zone because Ray Flores screaming into the ring announcing that if that don't wake you up, nothing will. So it's a big beat weekend of boxing. Are you allowed to make a pick, or do you have a pick?
No, I mean because I'm the ring announcer and I do my gambling show. One thing I said on my gambling shows, because I'm going to be handling the scorecards, I can't give a prediction one way or another because it's unlawful because I'm going to be announcing the winner. But all I can tell you, Mark, is that the fans are going to win because I think this is going to be one of those fights where both fighters put it all on the line and they come forward. Golovkin is in outstanding physical shape. Murata is clicking on all cylinders. And look, this is one of those fights that if you love high contact fights, this is the kind of fight for you. They're not going to sit back and wait and be patient and, use a lot of shoulder rolls and the Philly shell and all this and that. They're going to come at each other, mano a mano, toe to toe, stand in the center of the ring. Which man can handle the other man's power? Who will be left standing after they can dish out? Who can absorb the most? Who can dish out the most?
I believe there's another world title fight on the card, if I'm not mistaken. Flyweight title, Nakatani.
Yeah, flyweight title fight. I'm excited. I'm pumped about that. Look, this is a fantastic card. Taken Promotions, Mr. Honda, along with Triple G Promotions, they orchestrated this, and Saitama Super Arena sold out. It will be electric inside that arena. I love the Japanese fight fans. They're so respectful, and they're passionate, and they're honorable, and they come out to support every single fight on the card. Typically, you have this late arriving crowd in the United States, and no shame on the U.S. because, that's my home country, but the Japanese fight fans come out from the beginning of the prelims, because they all want to see, the entire show and the entire card. So credit to them.
It's just be one of those fights where there'll be no crowd noise, like actually during the fight. And then if some action happens, we'll hear something.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually what happened with Inoue Donaire #1, because of the fact that when Inoue knocked down Donaire, it was like the whole crowd was quiet, and then the knockdown happened, and my ears were ringing from the eruption of the fanfare and the cheers from the fans. It was nuts, Mark. I mean, my ears are still ringing from that in November of 2019. And I can only imagine what's going to happen if there's a knockdown or two. Now, key word that I emphasize right now, Mark, or two, because I could see this going back and forth, and I could see it being a seesaw fight, which I do believe we will witness on Saturday.
If you weren't in Japan, most likely you'd probably be in Las Vegas. The Virgin Hotel has an equally, and I said this when I talked to Sebastian Fundora last week. I think this fight on paper with Erickson Lubin, which is going to be on Showtime, I guess 10 o'clock on Showtime Saturday night. Showtime rolled out their big schedule going through the beginning of July. That was the fight with Lubin and Fundora. I thought it was going to be the best fight on paper.
Well, here's the thing about this fight. The odds are very close. Lubin is a favorite in the fight. I don't know who to pick because I think it's such an even fight. I could see a variety of scenarios playing out.
I think it's a great fight. I think they're going to kill each other.
I could see Lubin stopping Fundora. I can see Fundora overwhelming Lubin, stopping Lubin. I could see Lubin getting a decision. I could see Fundora getting a decision. I could see a split decision either way. I could see a draw. I don't know where this is going to go. I think that it is going to be just bananas. I mean, that is what it's going to be. It's going to be sheer pandemonium between those two, because the first two rounds might be the feeling out process. But mark my words, Mark, that's going to dissipate. And when the pleasantries are done and the feeling out process is gone, in the third round moving forward, I think these guys are going to try to hurt each other. I think they will. And it's going to be a high wire act. Fundora is one of those guys that, and I'm wondering, because my brother's going to be hosting the press conference tomorrow for Showtime Championship Boxing. And one of the questions, and I'll give you, breaking down the fourth wall, as we so to speak, is that how do you prepare, if you're Erickson Lubin, for someone who's 6'6" like Fundora, who can hit you from all the way out here? Typically, you prepare yourself for conventional guys, 6'2" and below. How do you prepare for somebody like that?
But you know what the funny thing is? I talked to Sebastian last week. You mentioned about a guy hitting him from so far away. He doesn't do that though.
No.
It's unbelievable. I said, do you ever, I'm sure you're told from time to time, use your gifts. You're 6'6", you're long, stay on the outside and fight. He goes, I just, I fight the way I fight, which is amazing being his size. I mean, he's going to just try to get in Lubin's kitchen. Lubin's got power. He's going to try to knock out Fundora. This fight is not going the distance, in my opinion.
No, I mean, I don't know where it's going to go, but all I know, and I hate to sound very much redundant here, but I think the fans win again in that fight. I mean, I think
tremendous
it's going to be a barn burner. Same way Golovkin Murata is going to be a barn burner. I think Fundora and Lubin's going to be a barn burner.
To a lesser extent, the co-feature Sergio Garcia, who put up a valiant effort against Fundora in his last fight in December, is going to fight former world champion Tony Harrison. So that figures to be an action fights. I think Showtime has a really nice show on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's going to be a quality event there in Las Vegas, fighting capital of the world, and small venue, and I think it's the perfect venue for a fight like this.
Also, Saturday night, we'll just touch on Michaela Mayer on ESPN defends her unified world titles against Jennifer Hahn. Anything on that? I don't know if you've been seeing on Twitter with Michaela and Alicia Baumgartner going at it. They've been going at it today. Michaela's preparing for a fight with Jennifer Hahn, and her and Baumgartner today on Twitter are just going at it.
I love the bad blood. I think it's great for women's boxing. I think to be able to have storylines like that, but I'm hoping that they fight each other sooner rather than later. Jennifer Hahn's a consummate pro. You know, she's the sister of A.B. Hahn. They're based in El Paso, Texas. I've seen them several times. And Jennifer Hahn's not going to make it easy for Michaela Mayer, but let's be honest, Michaela Mayer's head and shoulders one of the best women fighters, pound for pound, in the sport. And if she wants to get closer to unification, she's got to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt, beyond a reasonable doubt, that Jennifer Hahn doesn't belong in the ring with her. So here's her opportunity to main event and be in her hometown, and away we go. So curious to see how that fight unfolds, but I think that Michaela Mayer has a lot more tools in her arsenal compared to that of Jennifer Hahn.
Also, Saturday night, you mentioned El Paso. Let's go down to San Antonio, where we have the return of Ryan Garcia take on Emmanuel Tagoe in a fight. We haven't seen Garcia in about 16 months. He went through his mental health problems, had some injuries. Now with Joe Goosen, what should we be looking for with Ryan Garcia on Saturday night?
I think we get a sensational performance from Ryan Garcia because obviously you know that the legendary Joe Goosen is a broadcast partner of mine. And I've learned a lot from Joe, and he is such a staple in the sport. He's been around every situation imaginable. And I know that people had their doubts as to be like, well, why did Ryan Garcia leave Eddie Reynoso? Oh, now he's with Joe Goosen. He wants to be with someone where he runs the show himself. I've been in the gym with Joe Goosen many times. Joe Goosen, it's his way or no way. So Joe's not going to waste his time. He doesn't care who you are. If you come to his gym, you got to learn his way. And that's what Ryan Garcia did. And I love that. I think this is the perfect partnership. I think we get, and I very rarely do I use this word, Mark, and you've known me for many years, like going on 10 years now. I don't use the word spectacular often. I think we get a spectacular performance out of Ryan Garcia because he's just a very basic fighter. I think he has a blown up record. I think here's a guy who's going to come forward and try to press Ryan Garcia. And I think Ryan Garcia wipes him out. Ryan Garcia, you cannot prepare for the speed or the power of Ryan Garcia. Then you have the wisdom of Joe Goosen to be able to program Ryan Garcia. If Ryan Garcia was going to lose a fight over as he's trying to get up and ready for a title shot, it would have been in his last fight, in which he got knocked down in the first round. Then he came back and responded so well. Now, I think that Joe Goosen is the kind of guy that focuses on your strengths and tries to shore up your weaknesses. And that's what he's going to do with Ryan Garcia. This fight is not, and I'm going to give you, I don't see this fight lasting past the 7th round. I think Ryan Garcia obliterates Tagoe. And again, that's another word I don't use often, obliterates Tagoe. And I think that
inside in the first half of the fight.
Yeah, first half of the fight, because I think Ryan Garcia's head and shoulders above Tagoe. And I think Joe Goosen has him so sharp, so laser focused that Ryan Garcia knows, listen, it's almost like Roy Jones' song, Y'all Must Have Forgot. And Ryan Garcia's been away since January of last year. So people need to be reminded of why there's so much excitement and buzz behind Ryan Garcia. He has that opportunity on Saturday, and I think he will do it.
So if he does what you say he will do, and I guess because of Kambosos and Devin Haney are kind of tangled up for, maybe a couple fights or whatever, everyone's going to be calling for Garcia to fight Tank Davis. Should Tank Davis dispose of Rolly Romero?
That's the fight. That's the fight to make. I'm glad you went that direction because that's the fight to make. I think that's the fight that the world wants to see. I think it's the fight that I believe Mayweather Promotions tried to make that fight back when Ryan Garcia got a win last January. It couldn't happen for some reason. Ryan Garcia took a sabbatical, got himself focused again and healthy. And now with the way that their schedules are lining up, look at this. The fact that Ryan Garcia is fighting April 9th, Tank is fighting about, almost a month and a half later. You can make their schedules work with each other. So I'm hoping and optimistic that we get that fight next, assuming that Davis beats Romero and Garcia beats Tagoe.
So the lightweight division, obviously it's got a lot of things. The only thing that scares me about that fight being made, they just tried to make Charlo Munguia, and Oscar insisted it needed to be on DAZN or DAZN pay-per-view. And we may run into the same thing that with PBC, they may want to do it on Showtime. Oscar's going to want to do it on DAZN with Garcia. So hopefully these two guys win. And like you said, that's the fight to make.
Here's the thing, though. Davis is the champion, so it's like I understand.
Charlo is the champion. Yeah, Charlo is the champion.
Kind of like, how do you even have any basis when you're not the champion? I mean, if you were a champion, I understand that, but you're a challenger. Isn't the whole thing people want to say, you got to cross the street. You got to go across the street. All the fight fans, you got to cross the street. Okay, all right. Well, the offers have been made. So what's the deal?
No matter what.
I'm confused, Mark. I'm confused. I haven't had my fish oil today. Can you provide me some clarity, my friend?
It's amazing. No matter what continent you're in, you're still you're still a little nuts. But that's why we love.
I'm not normal. That's for sure.
That's why we love. Anything else on the schedule? I will try to talk to you next week from Dallas. I know you're getting in there late. Obviously,
yeah.
By the time you get home from there, you may not know what day it is when you get home.
Well, I'm going to White Sox opening day next week, so on Tuesday. So I'll get home, get a day and a half of sleep, and then go to White Sox opening day on Tuesday. Head to the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, for Lee Baxter, Lou DiBella for a fight on Fight Pass on Friday night. Head my way to the great state of Texas, as Stone Cold Steve Austin likes to stay on Saturday at AT&T Stadium for Spence and Ugas, the welterweight unification matchup. And fortunate to talk with Zab Judah and Errol Spence today at 5 a.m. my time, which was, in the afternoon your time. So both guys are focused, determined, and ready to go.
Well, you're making us all get up at 5 o'clock on Saturday morning. So
I guess it paid, exactly. There we go.
It's even. Any other boxing news or notes that you want to just touch on? Or
I'm just excited, man, because I got a fun schedule.
You're excited?
I'm always excited.
You're always
being
excited.
Around this sport, being here in Japan, obviously, is, I mentioned this yesterday on my social media. I love the late, great Gorilla Monsoon, as I will say, borrow a phrase from him, history will be made on Saturday night when Triple G fights Murata.
Is there any New Japan wrestling in town, or you tried to look that up?
I mean, we're in a bubble, so to speak, here in the hotel because, COVID restrictions and everything. So, really can't go out and venture out too much.
Why is it like that? Is it still pretty? Is it bad over there?
No, it's not bad. It's just, we get tested regularly and stuff like that. So, everyone's taking precautions to make sure that the athletes and the fighters are good and the staff is good. So I totally respect that. And, wearing our mask and stuff like that. But I've been eating great. I've been working out well and being in a beautiful hotel and learning and hearing some stories from the legendary Mr. Honda of Taken Promotions and talking with Tom Loeffler, Triple G Promotions. And it's a wonderful fight family that we're all congregated here in Tokyo.
And I saw you tweet a picture out with the legend Chocolatito.
It did. He's out here. He's having fun. He's enjoying himself here in the hotel. And, hopefully we can get him and Ioka, inside the ring sooner than later.
And I'm sure they'll call you to ring announce that one as
I'd be all about it, my man. Anytime I can come to Japan and do a big prize fight, sign me up. It's my favorite country in the world, but haven't visited Australia yet.
So you live in the United States, but yet you just said Japan's your favorite country.
No, I said to visit. Let me clarify that. To visit. Favorite country to visit is what I meant.
Okay, because
I'm not one of those guys that's like, I love the US of A, my man. To celebrate 4th of July. It's one of my favorite holidays, my friend.
There you go.
Celebrating our freedoms.
There you go. In Philadelphia too. Well, exactly. You can learn history from Ray, learn geography, and learn boxing. Ray, thank you.
Yeah, you can learn some dating tips as well. You know what I mean? I'm a single man, so I'm all about being out and about the town.
Well, if anyone is if any young ladies are watching, Ray's DMs are always open. So.
You said it, not me, Mark.
On Instagram and Twitter, he's an equal opportunist.
That's
Ray,
right.
we thank you for a few minutes of your time. Enjoy Tokyo, and we will see you Saturday morning here in the United States.
Beautiful, my man. Thanks so much for everything.